Yo! Yeah, I wasn't as consistent as I thought I was. Like, I took roughly another 3-week break. But if you were to think about it, I mean, you never know where life can take you, right? So, I mean, I'm sitting in my brand new Lambo, so, 𝐶𝐸𝐴𝐬. I mean, it feels surreal. I mean, getting to this point in my life in chapter, like, as well as, like, the subscribers, like, I didn't think I was gonna get to, 700 within, like, 4 weeks of, I mean, not 4 weeks, like, 4 months of posting, but, like, this is the, but besides the point, besides having the fun toys, retiring my parents, and all that other stuff, I think the main takeaway for this video, just come back, like, just like my other video, where you usually have, like, little fall-offs or, like, little points where you just need to take a break. Take it, I think for the simplicity's sake, I think your mental health is way more important than anything else that you're gonna do. Because if you're not mentally happy or mentally well, it's not gonna go very well, like, you're not gonna really enjoy life as you should. And I think the main takeaway with all of that is you have to walk in strides. Walk before you can run in strides, right? And don't just chase a goal, because in the end, if you do end up chasing that goal, once you hit it, guess what's next? You're gonna aim for the next goal. So, like, when people were asking me, like, what's after the Lambo? What's after this? What's after that? And I was like, honestly, you have to realize why I started this in the first place. Like, financial freedom. Like, I am free. I am free to enjoy whatever hobbies, adventures, travels, whatever I need to be doing, Like, it doesn't really matter anymore. But, I think it's to be grateful and just humbled to, like, where you start, All this can be taken away, at the end of the day. But I think it's also, like, what I learned for bodybuilding, or just anything that you can apply in life to. It's, if you set your whole motivation and mindset and all of that, like, your emotions tied to that goal, and you end up getting it, you feel like you need to do the next big thing. Like, the next big thing for me, like, end goal would be get a hypercar, right? Or get a high-end car, right? But I don't set myself to that, I'm not, there's no real, like, motive or goal yet for the next one that I plan to get. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be getting, But for now, enjoy it. Enjoy your process. And I think that's what most people lose sight of. Like, you have to be able to enjoy where you came from, learn what it took to get there, and just do it step by step. And Rome wasn't built in a day. And now, as cliche as it sounds, but, like, in all my other videos, I started recording while I was just at my vet. I really had no clue what the channel was going to be about, what it's going to be doing, right? And every so often I'd post consistently, go off posting consistently, and get back to it. It just really summarizes that you just have to get back up, put on the camera, and push record, No one else is really going to do that for you. You just have to do it. And it is hard. There will be days where you don't have motivation to do stuff, or you feel like there's no meaningful progress towards whatever goal you do. But if you guys watch the other video with my mentee doing 6 figures in a year, his first 6 months, wasn't the hottest, right? And we were aiming for like 50, 60K, that was plausible at the time. And then once you, like, zoom out, and his full 1 year, his last 6 months did the backbone of this entire, business. And then he saw it, like, come to fruition. And, like, just like with my other student that I just mentored for roughly two-ish months on how to do it, sold out in his first week. It's more of like, I don't think you'll ever be ready in anything that you do. Like, doing this car purchase, people are asking, like, oh, can you afford it? Can you do this, that? Or, like, I mean, and then also the same side, like, the non-supportive side, right? You're going to have the haters that basically come at you and be like, it's a rental, it's daddy's money, oh, you sold a course to go get it, whatever, right? And to be frank, I don't even have a course right now, Like, it's nowhere to be found. I am working on it, because, I mean, it is the next step. I mean, for anybody that's in e-commerce field or in a field of knowledge, it's like you don't want to be teaching people for the rest of your life. You know, as much as I would love to help and just endlessly give, there comes to a point where, you know, I'm gonna settle down, have a family, have a kid or two, and just be there for their growth. Like, in the end of the day, that's what I'm there for. Like, that's what I yearn for. And I think those years where I, like, wanted to fit into the crowd at some point, like, wanted to party, wanted to do all that, now that I think about where I am, most of them will never probably obtain this. It's because their mindset is never going to shift. Or they're going to envy the people that do end up quitting, like, smoking, drinking, all that shit. They're like, oh, you know, that guy's the boring guy. Or, like, there's nothing, you know, oh, he's trying to be cool or, like, try to stand out. It's like, yes, like, in order to be different and stand out, you have to do different things. You know? It's just how it is. But for some people, I don't think they'll ever comprehend that. And not being mean or anything, it's just some people are hard stuck, you know? And going back to my 9 to 5 at some point, literally the exact problem. I had a guy in there when I was talking to him, he was about to retire by the moment I got there, and then retired, right? But then here's the thing with that, you know? It came to the point, he was so bored with his life, there was no objectives, no friends, no like goal with that. So he went back to work. Like, what was all that money and 401k investments and all that stuff for, right? Came back to work because he saw nothing else outside of work. And not saying 9 to 5 isn't, like, you know, good. It is good, but you have to realize, like, you want to work 40 hours for the rest of your life. Like, your 20s is like the highest earning power potential that you're ever going to get. You're the most active, you're young, you got a lot of testosterone going through, you know. You're going to be the most active and creative at this point in your life to come up with businesses, start them up, fail, learn, you know. And going back to the very first video, my clothing brand that I launched, first off, shit was ass. I should have learned that I shouldn't have done it with a partner, you know. It fucked me up, and that's okay. And I'm still doing it to this day, like another business. Like, start new businesses, try them out for yourself. See where you can be. Like, 2.5 years ago, I didn't think I was going to be able to get a vet, a house, or my Lambo at this age, all right before 25, you know. I'm a month out, and I'll be 25, and I think this still hasn't hit me. I mean, I think my Corvette will still have, like, the biggest hit of, like, accomplishment of, like, damn, like, I'm able to buy a car all on my own, pay it all off, all that stuff, all that jazz, you know. But it proved to me that, like, if you put forth the work and consistently don't expect results, your outcomes will be so much more meaningful. More meaningful in a way. And honestly, getting a Lambo, same effect. You know, it's getting a Super, but I don't think it's gonna have the same effect as getting my Corvette, because the Corvette is where it all started. I mean, that's why I'm still keeping my YouTube name as Konvette, right? It kept me motivated throughout the entire process leading up to getting this Lambo, you know. And I don't know what happens next, you know. Might buy a bigger house, maybe construct a house, get 2 more Supers by the end, or whatever, right? Like, but I gotta worry about my investments first, all that other stuff, start up businesses, and worry about my mentees doing a good job, you know. And so far, they've all been killing it. So I think my fruits of my labor, like, it took like 1.5 years to start the mentoring process compared to my 2.5 years, you know. I didn't feel like I was ready just because I made my first sales. Like, yeah, I'm gonna capitalize on this and make a course, blah, 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 this and that, right? I feel like there's just something special if you do a one-on-one, you finally bond with them, understand why they want to make it out. Because, of course, everybody wants to make more money. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Like, it's not gonna ever go away. But to be able to change their mindset of, like, oh, you know, when they first, some of them when they first started, you know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm in it for the money, man. I'm gonna make 10K a month, blah, 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 this and that. And it goes back to what I was saying in the very beginning of the video. If you dead set on a goal at 10K a month and you keep locking in on that, it's not gonna help, because once you hit 10K, you're more prone to want to hit 20K, 30K, you know, and everything. And then you make your prior achievements that you've been dreaming of sound less fulfilling to you, you know? Instead of just being like, all right, you know, I did the work, and now I'm making 10K, you know? And let's hope to get to 20, to get to 30. But at the end of the day, like, money is to solve money problems. At the end of the day, if you're still not mentally well, physically well, or you want to achieve another goal that doesn't involve money, you know, like getting into a relationship, flexing money, flexing your big old cars, and all that stuff isn't going to really do much if you're a douchebag. You know? It's more of like just understanding yourself and becoming 1% better in any way that you can, right? And that's why I always give everybody like a good first impression. But some people just want free handouts, man. It comes a time, like now I post this and everybody's like, bro, give me a free ride, give me this, you know, can you do free mentoring and all that other stuff? And it's like, it took me so much out of me to finally get to where I am. The amount of money I spent, the amount of time I spent, the amount of lonely, sad days, you know. I'm not gonna make a pick me story, but like that's how it was, man. Like there were some nights all I had was myself, and it had to come down to like, did I want it as badly as I said I did? And truthfully, sometimes I was like, you know what, maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe this is like a mental struggle that I just don't want to go after or pursue anymore. But what you learn with that is like, well, then you're gonna live an average life, right? If nothing changes, then nothing changes, right? And in order to not live an average life, you're gonna have to do some things that people wouldn't do, you know? And then some things, you know, some things aren't just meant to be pursued, and sometimes it's just, maybe it's not in your interest, or it's too high of a risk tolerance for you. But just realize then, you know, I think you're gonna regret it later. Like, as long as it's like financially almost feasible or whatever, and you can attempt to try it in your early 20s, you know, that's the time. Because by the time you're 30, 40, 50, you got obligations. You're getting older. Like, you're not going to have the creative energy anymore. You're not going to have the brain capacity to be like, oh, hell yeah, I want to start this new business. I want to start this new venture. Because at this time, your earning power has significantly gone down in terms of, like, the habits that you're going to be building, right? And this goes back to, I mean, like, I always say that a lot, but, like, it's true. Like, when you go back and look at these lottery winners, right? They get in touch with a lot of money, but they haven't built the habits to keep all that money. So guess what they do? They go buy supercars, they go buy big old houses, they go on vacations all day long and all that stuff. They get complacent. They ruin all their habits and structure that they used to have, because now they have come into power with a bunch of money. Whereas if you come from no money and then you build it, you know that even though you no longer really have to work that hard to make it, it's what got you there in the first place. And this correlates so well with my bodybuilding journey, right? Bodybuilding taught me how to get rich. It didn't make me rich. And what does this mean per se, right? Technically, this means like it taught me like the discipline I needed. It was more so like you had to have done it. You would have to, like, if you wanted to get ripped, you would have to eat a proper diet, sleep on time, and honestly, just get your mind right? You have to stop drinking alcohol, all that other stuff that involves all of that. That's going to negate or slow down the process. And it's not really good in terms of all of that, because, like, in the end, you're stagnating your progress, right? And I took it upon myself to get a coach, train me the right way, follow the diet, follow the plan. And guess what? I got shredded and I won. But the whole point wasn't to win per se when I first started, right? I just wanted to prove it to myself that I was going to be able to get a six-pack and be great. Like, be great for once in my life that I can be proud of. Like, it was no one else's achievement. This wasn't going to change someone else's life. Like, oh my God, you know? Like, it was personally for me. It was a personal goal, personally. You know, there was no actual financial gain or anything crazy out of that. That was just a personal gain out of my own life to be able to pursue the life that I wanted, you know, and I saw myself get ripped, and I proved myself that I could lose 50 pounds in 15 weeks. Now, was it stressful and miserable, and I lost a bunch of good friends? Yes. But it also told me, your dreams are yours alone. I don't think you're ever really going to find the right time, and I have to iterate that over and over and over, as much as, like, sounds cliche as hell, you know, but you're never really going to find a good time or the right perfect moment that you're going to do things. You just have to navigate through life and get better at it, you know, how to manage this better, how to do this better, you know. And like it all comes with like responsibilities. When you're younger, you have no responsibilities. When you're older, sure, you know, you're gonna have a lot more, and it's gonna be a lot harder to do half these things. But after winning, you know, it taught me, not per se the win was the important part, but the progress and the progression each week that led up to the show. You know, it taught me that if you did like a great job at what you're doing, then, you know, you can do well. You know, there's like 4 state troopers on the highway right now. They can't do that, but you know, I'm in strata mode, but you know, I have to be keen. You know, my radar is scouting it out, but you know, but back to the point, it's like where was I? The bodybuilding thing, right? It didn't matter that I won first place. I felt great. You know, it was for my personal goal. But when you think about it, it was like the week to week, my day to day, and then the month to month on what that looked like, right? I put into myself the investment 1% every day. I made sure I walked more than I did yesterday. I went to sleep just a little earlier if I could, you know, when I could. Finished homework early, made enough time, made enough for everything. And those consistent days led up to that win. Those consistent days led up to the win. What led you there? The consistent days. So then I applied that knowledge to business. I started my business with no expectation of anything, but I made sure to do product research more often, do PPC more often, you know, just go to sleep earlier, or like once I got tired of like doing product research or like PPC wasn't working, I'd go back to the drawing board and see what worked, you know, like what is it that clicked for others that didn't click for me, you know, what could I do better about my product that I could stand out, or whatever it may be, right? I invested time into myself instead of, you know, oh, you know, I'm gonna start this business, kind of slack off, go party, go do whatever, right? No, I didn't give 2 cents about it, you know, like I cared more about my future at the time in my early 20s, because like in my head, I hit a midlife crisis before I even hit a midlife crisis, right? And it gave me a wake-up call. Like, as much as I'd love to, you know, have my parents here forever, they have at least another good, you know, 25, 35 years, you know. I'm going to be real honest with myself, you know. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and be like, oh, yeah, I still got like 10 more years to put, like, retire them, help them out, do all this stuff. No, you know, every single minute and day that passes by is one less day I have with them. And I think it was a monumental moment, you know, when my dad quit smoking, because, you know, he saw the pain in my eyes where I was just like, Dad, like, I didn't even care if you stopped smoking, and it gave me like a couple more days with you, you know. That couple more days is still a couple more days that I now have than I wouldn't have before. And the mindset of always thinking half full instead of half empty will go such a long way for you if you can think like that, you know. And it's the same thing here, you know. Some days maybe it's like, it's great, business is good, you know, it's always on the move, you know. And other days it's just like, I can relax for a bit. I can play a game with my friends for an hour or two. Just because they don't do business or, you know, are on the same mindset doesn't mean I still can't have fun with them. But now I have more responsibilities for myself that I put on myself because I got to where I am, you know. I'm not complacent. I'm always gonna keep everything intact, make sure everything's in check. And for that to happen, you know, consistently, there are some days I just don't have time. I literally, some of my homies ask me, is there time for you to game? And I just don't. I have to tell them, it's like, I can't game, bro. I can't game like this entire week. Or like, and those are the days that lead me up to being able to go to Japan for a week, taking my mom to Vietnam for a month. Like, these things only happen when I consistently make sure to keep improving. Because it's like starting a fire, right? Once you get it up, you have to keep putting logs, twigs, or whatever to keep it lit. It's the same concept. If you stop putting logs in there, eventually it's all gonna turn into ashes and coal and stuff, and it's not gonna go so well. It's really not, you know. And just put in the work day in and day out. You know, this was a little longer video, and I got a little more passionate and emotional into it, but your life can change in a year. It really can. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It will be lonely. I mean, but would you rather be lonely at the top or at the bottom? You know, that's why the bus has 50 people I mean, it can store 50 people and the Lambo can hold 2, you know? It's up to you on how you want your life to turn out. In the end of the day, all my life decisions, all my choices, whether they were good or bad, I am here now where I currently am because of those, you know? And sure, I've made mistakes. I've made stupid mistakes, but, you know, being young, sometimes you're young and dumb. But, you know, through pain, suffering, and, like, hard nights, lonely nights, or, you know, the tribulations that you go through, I think you just mature faster and you realize what you've wasted on was either worth it or just nonsense. Like, half the shit that in your 30s you're gonna look back and be like, why the fuck did I do that in my 20s, you know? Why did I spend half of my years partying away? Because I'll never be this age again? Like, true, you know, you will never be this age again, but that comes, like, with modesty. Like, you have to realize, when you keep complaining and, you know, and you aren't sick of your own shit, repeating it over and over and over, eventually it gets tiring for everybody else that kind of hears it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to take accountability for yourself. You kind of have to realize, like, dang, I've been saying I need to start a business, I need to start working out. Then do it. Really. No one's gonna babysit you, feed you, and, like, tell you to do it. And the people that are doing it, that's why you see good highlights. You see all that stuff because, you know, they get to be able to make the good moments. How do you get to make good moments? To actually work yourself up to that point where you can make good moments, you know? The consistent work in and out is what's going to make the difference between, you know, a person that's going to have the things that they want in life and the people that aren't, you know? No matter what you do, you don't have to start a business. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to do this, you know? You're putting someone else's dreams or direction in your mind, you know? Whatever you feel is right, then do it, you know? Like, and I'm not going to give you a fancy dropout story. Like, I did not drop out of college. I graduated with a CS degree, you know, and I did it for my parents. My parents wanted the degree, and I got it. I got exactly what they wanted, you know, but in the end, that career path wasn't for me. I just don't see myself sitting there for 40 hours every week solving some issues, and then maybe sometimes I don't even get to solve all the issues, and then I go home and I still have to think about it on Saturday and Sunday, you know? It's going to be a recurring thing I'm going to have to think about. And it kind of just boggles my mind that I have to do that, you know? Like, I shouldn't have to. And so, if you want your life to change, you have to change, right? And I now don't have a boss, fully retired, just living my life as what my younger self would have wanted, you know? The Lambo was, like, for the longest time, something I sought, but I didn't think at the time I was going to reach it. And the mentality that you think you're not going to reach it is false. You know, you got to believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you're halfway there. You know, I think I'm going to leave off with that on a good note. I might turn on the camera after this for like a part 2, but I think it's a good segment of coming back into YouTube and introductions and all that other stuff. But I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.